welcome back, everyone. We have a new guest. This transition is pretty amazing. We were like in and out with everyone today. We have the amazing Baugasm and the mind behind Baugasm.
Hello,
Just a
everyone.
nickname.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's a pleasure to be back in person here and be at the conference as well.
Yeah. How was your first morning at OFF?
I was good. Was good. I'm just actually a little bit sleepy. I need to have another coffee, but yesterday was a long day because traveling and everything. But
Where did you
catching
travel
up.
from?
From Tirana, Albania. So
Wow,
it's,
okay,
I mean, it's not that far. It's like
Yeah.
2.5 hours basically, but it
Yeah.
was like an early morning flight, so I was
One
a bit
of
tired.
those.
I was
Yeah.
taking care of a lot of projects like until midnight, so I had to sleep very late.
So you're
and like
working on the go?
kind of a little bit, yeah, trying to catch up. Like everything is happening now. I don't know why everyone wants. Like these 2 months are like the busiest months of
Intense.
everything. So
Can we get a sneak of what you're working on, or?
Sure. I mean, some of the projects that I'm currently working is like client related. The ones that I'm probably I cannot share much of those, but are very
Yeah.
interesting. Especially, it's like very interesting projects related to a little bit of 3D, a little bit of graphic design, but and also like I'm working on some personal stuff, which
Yeah.
is something related to the NFT world, but it's like a metasphere, which is like I'm combining my kind of work and my kind of style into something that is more NFT related, but
Yeah.
like more some sort of a bigger project than Baugasm on its own. So it's a little bit combination of all and trying to juggle everything around, like client work and personal stuff. Always have personal stuff there, so.
I love that. Always
Yeah.
the personal projects. We need to get sneaks into that.
Yeah.
But we didn't even introduce you properly. Obviously, you started the Baugasm kind of work, and you're known for this. And I think you probably have talked about this hundreds of times. So we'll probably get to that very quickly.
Little bit.
But tell us a bit about your journey.
Sure. So I come from kind of a graphic design background. I started as mostly also like a UI and user interface designer, and starting from that, and graphic design always has been there for me. Like I come from like a more traditional graphic design background, and then I was so much into like cinematography and videography and photography as well, and like making like trying always to try new mediums and experiment with different kind of art scenes and kind of experiment with all of those together brings you like new ideas and combination of things. And like Instagram was just a project that I started. Baugasm was a project that I started on Instagram like in 2016, which was just a side thing that just started out. But I think it's like it evolved so much from what it was in the beginning. Now it's more like it's like part of my journey and like a part of like the way what I do, but also like a way of like taking from that and building other things on top of just the name and what I did. So the story of Baugasm basically is like in 2016 I challenged myself to create a poster every day from a previous project that I was doing since 2011, which was like doing a poster every day for 60 days, and kind of expanded in 2016 something bigger than that. So I mean that's and now I'm just kind of making still posters, not every day, because I want to have a little bit more curation and time in every kind of artwork, and also like taking that into something bigger and making like longer projects rather than just one poster, but like always. So my goal is like I started adding like 3D and a lot of other elements to it, and my goal is like combine the traditional graphic design into anything else that I do. It could be photography, it could be a cinematography project, but still have a little bit of graphic design, like old school graphic design in it. So
what kind of tools do you use? So we, just get a little bit into it, but obviously there's the poster element, but you said you're experimenting a lot, and now NFTs are the topic we're probably going to hear about. I just said of Temi, so what's your process?
So this softwares you mean?
Yeah.
So it's mostly I mean, I try to add as much as I can on my tool set. It's like that's the cool part about being a creative, is also like having the possibility to learn new software as you go and like try how to use that on your workflow and make what you make and maybe expand. I see softwares as like a way to add something extra to your workflow. And like, for example, I've been experimenting with 3D a lot. Lately me and my partner, she's also getting into like Marvelous Designer and also Cloud 3D, which is very interesting, especially if you combine it with Substance Painter and like you start making the clothing and like how you use that as a part of a graphic design is very interesting. But yeah, as always, I mean, my posters, if it is for the posters, they're all come together in Photoshop, and there are elements that I use in Illustrator where I mostly work with the typography and like I create the shapes and things. And then sometimes I do things in like Illustrator, import them in Cinema 4D, and there where it's like all the magic happens in terms of like shapes and forms and objects, and then go back together in Photoshop. And if it is animated, of course, it has to go in After Effects. So like, yeah, it's a mix of everything together, but it's like whatever I'm using, whatever I'm inspired on, like it starts from one software, goes to the other one, and like so on.
You have very loose approach. I love this.
Yeah, you have to be like that, I guess, in order to like, you have an idea, you have to learn this software, and then you learn also like what this software brings you to do some, like for example, what After Effects could do for a graphic designer, or like what Substance Painter could do for I don't know, like a fashion person who sews clothes, and like, you know, how you can take that to the next step. So it's very interesting if you see it in this perspective. It helped me a lot to kind of experiment around.
Definitely. And how have the last kind of 2 years been for you with the pandemic and this kind of, I think it left for a lot of creative space to test things a bit more and maybe just sit more into what they were doing instead of the day-to-day. Has this been the case for you, or how do you feel?
Yeah, in the beginning when it started, it was a little bit like, you know, like everybody was like, what is happening? Like, what is this? And like, where is my career going to go? Like, what's going to happen?
Existential.
But yeah, it was. And I think many people came out of, like, I mean, we're coming out of it in a way that is like different and probably seeing things a little bit different. But for me, it was, I'm lucky that I had to diversify my work and like work with still had work and work, have clients and projects. Maybe if gave me a little bit more time to focus on things that I wanted to do. Fortunately, NFT boom happened during these 2 years, so that was like giving a lot of space to a lot of artists as well to sort of see like another path on like how they can follow their work and like what they can experiment and what they can do. So that was the interesting part. But yeah, I mean, like in the beginning when it started, when we were in quarantine, like because my studio is so close to my home, basically we were still be able to go to my studio. And me and my partner were like, oh, maybe we've been in quarantine for many years now. It's nothing, like,
nothing has changed. This is a problem.
Nothing has changed. This is like, we need to change now. Like, we need to not spend this much. Yeah, exactly. That was
so where did you spend your quarantine? Where were you based?
In Tirana, Albania.
Okay, also there,
I was there. And unfortunately, it took me 2 years a year and a half to go and actually meet my parents and sleep in my own bedroom. I go and see my parents there and like it was thankfully we are getting out of it, and like
how is it being back at events like this and kind of seeing people?
It's great. I was so in 2020 I was so looking forward to OFF in person, and then it, you know, and so many other conferences as well. Like I missed on this. I need this, like the interaction with people and meeting so many cool creatives from agencies and like people who work with companies like you, and like just talking and sharing.
We miss it too. So
it's amazing. It's amazing, and thankfully it's like we forgot about this for 2 years, and now being back, I think it's amazing. And it's like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go back home so inspired, and like just after seeing so many creatives here, like books and everything and software and all these professionals working all over the world is amazing. So
you feel like you recognize some faces. You know, there are people walking around, and I could definitely remember you from 2-3 years ago, and then it's again coming back to life. So that's super exciting.
It is.
Are there any sessions you're looking forward to, or anything specific?
So I mean, like I haven't seen much the schedule, but there are a few of my friends who are speaking, and I'm gonna go and probably check them out. Some of them are like one in one, and the others I have to do like stay half an hour in one.
You have to pick someone.
I have to pick someone. But yeah, there are a lot. I'm also curious about the movie that Jimang has been doing for the off, so I'm curious to see that.
Nice.
I think it's probably on the same time that I have my talk, so hopefully,
Hopefully you stay for yours.
hopefully, yeah. If I'm like bye.
Yeah, I have other things.
Yeah, but yeah, there are a lot of artists who I'm looking forward
Nice.
to. Also, Paula Scher, I'm
Yeah,
really curious.
she's going to be with us just after you, actually.
Oh,
so,
yeah? Oh, that's
so
great.
we'll
Okay.
see her around.
Just gonna say hi.
But yeah.
Great, yeah.
Should we see some work? I feel like you had some
Sure.
things ready, so we can go
Yeah.
through a little bit of what you've done recently.
Yeah.
I mean, we could show again, the posters to start with if you want to, but
Yeah, I mean, the posters, probably everybody has seen those.
Exactly.
But for example, if I go to my Baugasm, so I've been doing some experimental stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, we have Instagram here open, which is, for some reason, you need to log in, and I cannot log in. But yeah, I've been doing some like experimental kind of posters, animations in here
Yeah.
with using After Effects and also Cinema 4D to create like 3D elements, but they look like 2D.
Yeah.
Is this one? I cannot open it,
Sorry about that.
unfortunately. No, all
Okay.
good. But I like everybody who wants to see it.
Yeah.
They can go and check it out. But it's like a little bit of experimentation of like, as I also previously mentioned, for me it's really important in the end to have like not only, even if I'm working with 3D, like in the end for me it's like that 2D graphic design aesthetic in it.
Yeah.
So like I try to keep that in my work. So for example, with this one, even though part of it is done in 3D, like the texture and everything is part of
Yeah.
to look a little bit like graphic design, to have that flat into it.
Yep.
And then I've been doing also some stuff with Oosh. I don't know how to pronounce it though. Like they never like I was asking Hector about like the project, but I don't know how to. But this is like a project I've been working on, which is like very kind of diverse from other things that I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing like a series of these, which is like a real life situations and this is a little bit provocative, but I'm really liking, like I have some other stuff like this that I'm putting out, and this is part of NFT that we are launching with Oosh, I will call it
Yep.
for now. So, and then I don't know, like the other part of me is like the thing that during the pandemic, what changed was that I was doing a lot of my photography and cinematography inside, but when that happened, that's when I saw that I couldn't do much. I couldn't go out and take photographs and like travel, and I couldn't do that. And then I had all my skills in 3D, and I was like, maybe I can start making like photography kind of
Nice.
things and scenes that I wanted to photograph in 3D
Yeah.
and make them look like cinematographic photos or like that cinematography feel. And that's what I did, like, you know, on my other account where I was sharing photography.
Yeah.
I started adding a little bit more, like I started with these kind of works that are like the cars in the air and like mixing a little bit, like for example this one is a photo but also mixing with a little bit of sci-fi into it. And yeah, and this kind of took off a little bit differently from Baugasm and
Yeah.
so on. So, and to see more of those, I have some here. You can
I
go
was
and
going
check
to
it
ask
out.
you about your two accounts because you obviously have these two and you're building them up and you also have a great community. So how do
Yeah.
you keep building this, you know?
It's a bit difficult to catch up with everyone,
Yeah.
but in the end, I've been focusing mostly like. And sorry if I like sometimes I'm not really responsive on my messages.
Okay, we're giving like a heads up to
Yeah,
everyone.
but it's tough. I'm focusing on the work and like
Yeah,
just
that makes
putting
sense.
this out, and like
Yeah.
as much as I can share, I share on platforms and like communicate with people
Yeah.
differently. But this is like the stuff that I'm kind of experimenting with. I'm really, this is one of my favorites actually. Using my partner as a photograph in the studio, shooting in green screen, and then adding
Wow.
her to the scene and like
Yeah.
mixing. So yeah, it's a mix of.
You're playing a lot in Photoshop.
Yeah, of course.
As
It's
well.
like,
It's
for
great.
example, this one is the sky and everything is done in. I think it's a photograph I took, and then in the end, like all of these, what they have is like. I start editing these in Lightroom, similar to like I would edit all my photography work. So
Yep.
like, this is how I get this kind of unique feel to it that probably you wouldn't get from the 3D software unless you play that much with the tools they offer. But like, yeah, it's. I'm excited about this because I'm trying. And here is After Effects probably that I
Yeah.
used a little bit of title and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
These are stuff. I mean, there are a bunch of things that I haven't updated mostly in
We
here,
can go
but
through.
yeah, most of the stuff I share is also in.
I like that you say occasionally designing posters. Where's
Yeah,
this
now
question? Yeah,
occasionally
now,
design.
yeah,
Yeah.
that transitioned. I think
Just
someone
super.
in the chat was just saying that it's amazing to see your journey as well, like from the start
Yeah,
and how that built up. Tammy, who was just here with us, was also talking about the posters daily as his personal challenge.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that these kind of ideas kickstart something much bigger, and I think the much bigger is even
Of
more
course.
interesting.
I think it's in the end it's like you start this just as a challenge for yourself in the sense of like in 2016 when I was posting on my personal account actually, like photography and things like that. And I saw the potential of Instagram of like giving me inspiration to go and shoot more photos and like travel and like go to places and experiment and take photos and like explore places that I would never before. Because like I was finding a medium and a platform where to share this with. And then I was like, wait, like I'm doing so much graphic design work on site for client work, and like I don't have like a real platform where I can share the things that I'm doing personally. Of course, I was posting on Behance, but like the things that I was posting there were more like project based, like one project that I finished and I was sharing in there. While I wanted to have something going on, and I was like, maybe I just create this like persona, and that's why I started like Baugasm. And then like many people caught up with the account and like reaching me out with comments and stuff, and that gave me like a lot of inspiration to keep going and keep doing the work, which helped me learn other software and like find other mediums to experiment with to be
Do you
creative.
see other artists and creatives who also inspire you, who start these kind of challenges or anything similar that you can have top of mind?
Uh, you mean like for
In the
me?
community or for you, yeah, for yourself?
Yeah, I mean like there are a lot of people who started like a lot of daily challenge like in the 3D space. Of course, Beeple it was like the first one who is doing that. I similar to me, there are like a lot of other designers and creatives right now who are challenging, and I encourage everyone to do it. Like if you want to improve and like find a way to, you know, like especially in the beginning, it's like to help you outgrow your skill set and like be consistent with the work. And this is going to be part of my talk that I also talk. Show my journey of like what I did and what I learned during this time, which I think is really important. But yeah, there are a lot of artists who are doing that, and for me, it was like in 2011, I did this. I started. It was called like 60 Designs. That I was like, I'm gonna share my work on this website that I created. That I'm gonna make a poster every day for 60 days. I think it was like 2011, 2012, something like that. And like at the time, I don't think there was like Instagram. Was it? Maybe not.
How did
And I
people
was
function?
sharing. Yeah, and I was sharing those on my personal website, and like people who were going visit would be like just people who I would point to, or like friends and family, and that motivation to keep going was like, okay, I'm doing this. I think I did like 40 posts and I didn't finish it all, but then like when Instagram came along, and I was like, now I need to bring this back and sort of like expand a little bit and challenge myself for like a year, which was scary. But then I ended up doing like more and more and more. So yeah.
And music is quite important to you as well, right? Like, what is the kind of creative environment for you that like is?
So yeah, my studio is like the it's like my playground. It's like I go there in the morning. Like I want to have everything there that can be creative. So like with music, I mean my career kind of started with music, like electronic music and producing a little bit, and then I was able to explore like photography and Photoshop and photo manipulations, and then move to graphic design and mobile apps and websites. So now I'm like when I do animations, like for example, I did this with a collab with, you cannot open it, but with Mercedes and some NFTs and with the sounds, and even this one with the sound. Like I mean, it's not anything crazy, but yeah, it's good to have a background a little bit on that, so you can mix and match things together. I've been so long that I wanted to do like like some experimental music and like do the visuals for it. Maybe that's a project that is coming. It's gonna maybe be part of the Metasphere project that I'm doing. So maybe I want to show that if we've got time.
Of course we do.
Because I forgot about that. So like Metasphere is like a So like the sphere in the Baugasm was since the beginning was like the core value of like where everything starts, because you have like a square, and then within the square you have the sphere, and it's like so fundamental to everything that I do. Like even when I don't speak
Now
Spanish,
we've
but
lost it.
I started. Yeah, I started. I even I was just showing this, but I also like
wow.
part of the tattoo is like
Nice.
I done this long time ago, and then
You're
one
your
day
own canvas.
I looked at this photo and I was like, oh wait, I forgot that I have this, and it's like a sphere, and it's like kind of the field of
Great.
the Baugasm. But yeah, so this is the spheres, and like with these spheres, I wanted to create something more like still have that aesthetic of graphic design and a little bit of 3D.
Yep.
Still have a little bit of the Baugasm in it,
Yep.
but also add a little bit music. And also, for example, if we go to this artwork is actually derived from one of the spheres.
Yep.
So it has the colors and the textures from one of the spheres. So like I want to use the spheres now as a way of like
tying in,
using them to create other artwork, and I think that's really important to make this as a project also like exciting and like more creative, because I just don't want to make one sphere and that's it, and this as an artwork, but each sphere is going to have something else to it. It's a secret. I haven't shared that much, but like people will know more about it.
You're very good at setting your own brief. It's kind of interesting that you can set your own challenge and it never ends. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do that, because otherwise it's like I'll just make things and then I get bored with it, and I'm like, okay, where do I need to take this now? And I have to figure out ways of like use works. For example, even this artwork was done for something like part of the metasphere was different, and then I had like, oh, maybe I'll animate it, and then last 2 days I've been busy animating this because it was just a static image. But yeah, I mean it's a mix of things, and some of the spheres are going to have music in it.
Nice.
I think I have a few here which are animated, but they're going to be moving to the sound. So excited to experiment a little bit more with that as well.
How do you kind of manage with client work, and you have more kind of restriction in that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really important that daily to work on something, not only for clients. So like I split my day. I need to do all the work that I have for a client, and also daily to do something from my own personal projects. It's part of my job. It's part of like what I do. It's as important as my clients. And doing the challenge, the daily challenge for the Baugasm, taught me this a lot, because I was doing a lot of like client work, but in the same time I had to finish the poster. So it taught me how to find a gap during the day when I'm feeling inspired to do something, because for anything creative that I'm doing for myself, personal projects, I don't actually, you said I set my own brief, but the brief is set at the moment. So like I know what I'm doing, and at that moment I'm inspired to do this thing, and I'll just do that thing. And I don't need like, to follow like some certain guidelines or anything like that, which stress you out as a creative.
Definitely.
Well, client work, you always have to follow kind of a path, even though I'm lucky that the clients I work with are very
open or
moving towards the goals and the work that I do. So it's a little bit closer to what I do, and it's like giving me flexibility to experiment and be within my own bubble as well for client work. But yeah, it's I have to juggle between the two, but I think that's the exciting part.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we have about kind of 2 minutes or 1 minute to go. What are you excited about? I really had a question about kind of technology, and I know we talked a bit about NFTs, but what's kind of drawing your attention and going to be key for you in the next months?
Yeah, so I'm actually doing like a project with my partner. She comes from a photography and videography and fashion background, and she's just getting in 3D now. And like I'm really excited about the whole NFT space and like where it's going. But in the same time, like what we're gonna do together, mixing our skills into this. So like we are working on like a project together, which is related to clothing and animation and cinematography and graphic design in the same time. So it's going to be a combination of all these things together, and looking forward to that. But mostly, it's like probably NFTs and like where it's going to go, and like probably I want to learn Unreal Engine, and there's so many ways you can, like there are so many ways you can add to that. But excited to see new technologies that are coming out. Yeah.
See what you're going to create. Thank you so much for joining us.
We're
at time.
It was great.
And we'll be right back with Paula.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, too. Yeah, it was...